Hey guys, so I'm Alon. I'm a record producer, songwriter, and DJ, and I'm the record producer and co-writer of Kickback.
My name is KC. I am a singer-songwriter, and I am the co-writer of Kickback as well.
I am so glad to have this opportunity to chat with you guys about Kickback because I feel like NCT's discography is one of the main ones that I get the most questions about from fans. They come to me asking like, oh my goodness, this song sounds so unique. I need to know the writer's perspectives behind creating this, or like, oh, I can connect this, and this. Like, was this meant to be? And so I am so glad to be talking to you guys today about the birth of Kickback. And so, of course, we're going to start at the very beginning. Before you started producing the track, how was the song born? Did you receive a lead sheet from SM that this song would be specifically for WayV?
No, it's a funny story because we wrote this song in our last writing camp that we did together in Seoul at SM, and I think with this song we didn't really have anybody in mind. I had this idea of like, you know what you hear on the intro with the drums and the bass line? I think that's what I had, and we just built off that, and it kind of came together without really targeting any specific boy band.
Yeah, normally SM, will have like a kind of little packet of like what they're looking for, but some, they'll say look at that, but then sometimes they're just like, kind of just do what you feel and create how you want to create. And so I think for Kickback specifically, we really didn't have a target. We just kind of were like, we've worked together a few times already. We're just going to go in and kind of do what we think would sound just good and epic, in my opinion.
When you learned that this song was going to be signed to WayV, did you learn that mid-process of creating it? Like you had several demos done and then you did several more to make sure that it fit them afterwards? Or was it just completely done and they're like, hey, you know what, we're signing this to WayV?
At least the original demo was fully done because we finished it, at the end of the camp. And then it was probably like a month later that we heard the news that it was going to be assigned to WayV. I think to both of us, that was a real surprise. Like we were like, oh wow, like this is unexpected. And yeah, we're so happy about it. And then came the edits, a lot of edits. We were, especially the chorus. The main thing we had was the kick back. And when Casey came up with that in the studio, I think that's when we knew, okay, like, this is gonna be a cool track. But it didn't have that post-chorus with the more melodic section. And we really built that to match WayV style, and really elevate the chorus.
I think even looking back, like on just WayV's kind of tracks that they had in the past, it's very like, I don't want to say up and down, but very like, okay, there's this moment that builds and then this big moment, and then it's like, what's next? So I feel like in the chorus specifically, how we originally had it was just like the kick back, and it kind of plateaued there. And then they were like, no, take it even more. And so that was one of the main edits that we had to do a few times, I think.
I was curious about how the song structure came to be because fans pointed out saying that in WayV's past songs, there's usually a lyrical hook and then comes the spoken hook, right? And in this way, it's the exact opposite. Do you think that was chosen for the flow of energy or because it's perhaps the opposite of what we had in Turn Back Time and then it fits with the concept?
Because the pre-chorus was so like anthemic, if we had went to like another kind of singy part, it would have just blended weird. So I think going straight into like kind of like a rap kind of cadence and then coming back to a singing part, it kind of just made it like a nice little roller coaster.
Yeah, I think it helped the dynamic, to like going into this big, epic, super big production pre-chorus, and then boom, like strip it all the way back into the kickback with just drums and that gliding bass, and then build it back up into that post-chorus was probably the best way that it could have worked together.
Continuing on the topic of Kickback's form, Twitter user Luciaucus, I'm guessing it is. They say, hi, I really love Kickback. This is beyond amazing. This song has a dance break at the end when WayV's past title tracks have happened to have a dance break towards the middle. So was this Alon's choice to have the dance break at the very end, or was it SM who requested it?
It wasn't there on the original demo. They requested an additional dance break. I think they suggested to put it at the end, which kind of makes sense because we had this whole song done already and formatted, and I think it was just like, okay, let's give the fans something extra and unexpected at the end where it could go into a little section where they can dance and do that kind of stuff. But they gave me complete freedom with how to do it and all that stuff, and it's a nice little surprise, especially in the music video when you kind of see a rewind and so I think it was a great idea. It was a good call.
Yeah. Definitely, it felt right at the end. Like it just felt like the chorus ends and you're like, is there something else? Is this over? And then boom, like, oh gosh.
Alon, when you were creating, you said you had several different versions of the dance break. Was one with guitars? Because I know you're a guitarist. You could have gone ham.
Yeah, I love
right?
sneaking some guitars on my dance break. There's some guitars in the pre-chorus. I don't know if you heard them.
Right, very silently in the back.
Very subtle, yeah, some high leads and stuff. But no, I really wanted the dance break to be like energetic and really like fast paced. So I just tried different rhythm stuff like that. One thing I tried two alternatives too is if you check out the dance break, the first half, the beat is in half step, so like and then it switched to the next 4 bars into like so I tried like the other way around as well, with starting with the fast one and then cutting it in half, so just different stuff, and then some stuff with 808s, but that one was the one that had the most like energy. And
gotcha, you gotta accelerate the beats to add the hype and then suddenly end it so that people go back and just listen again.
Yep. They're like, oh wait, it's over, jeez, I gotta run that back.
Exactly. And Casey, so for the kick back, was that originally, did Alon take your kickback vocals from the demo and put it at the very end, or did you decide to come up with that super syncopated line for the dance break?
You know what, I think that was their idea. I think they added that themselves because we didn't have that. So I think it was the translated the writer that translates.
It's actually my voice, bro.
Oh, that's you.
Oh, yo!
Oh God, I didn't even know.
But no, to be fair, like when I sent it for submission and stuff, it was really, really low in the mix. But I had this idea of I recorded it myself and like pitched it down with the kick back.
It's super sick, yeah.
In the mix, they really put it like in your face out there, which was cool.
Great
so
ideas,
good.
yeah.
So good.
Kickback, even though not originally written for WayV, is a wonderful encapsulation of musical elements we've heard before in WayV's tracks, as well as including things that we haven't heard before from them. So this is a two-part question. First up, a lot of people are wondering if it's a coincidence that this song feels like it's hinting back to all their past title tracks, or if you purposely wanted to include elements inspired by each one of them in this track. So when you did learn that it was for WayV and you went back and had to, add some things in, was anything purposeful to link back to their past sound?
I personally think, and I think that's about like music in general, that once you listen to something, so basically I feel like when me and Alon work together, we always like listen back to, different K-pop groups. And I'm sure because at that camp, WayV was on the list, we went and like listened to past WayV things. And I don't think we purposely did anything, but I think subconsciously something clicked in our mind and then it kind of just happened and it just worked. But I don't think we really thought about it. It just kind of just happened.
Yes, totally agree. We didn't even know, in the first place that we were writing it for them. So we didn't have them in mind for it. But then when we did the edit, like you said, I think it just we naturally embraced their sound and kind of tweaked some melodies here and there. That's probably one of the reasons why SM picked it, is because the song originally had those little elements, from them as well. But it's funny, I see many things. A lot of people ask me if we did something with Turn Back Time and all that stuff, especially because right before the hook you did that tick tack tick thing, and so I think it was probably just meant to be type of thing. That's so weird too. Like the fact that it linked like that is just insane, that we didn't really think that through.
Right. So when you first created this song, the kickback theme was there. What were the different kinds of concepts that you pictured to inspire yourself writing the track? Like the different words, the scenes, the images.
For me specifically, like the term kickback, when I moved to LA, I learned that term. It's like you go to a kickback, not a party. Like a party is like crazy, but a kickback is like, it can be kind of have elements of a party, but it's like more chill. And in the video, like they just seem like they're chilling, they're having fun, they're like grooving, but they're not like going crazy, you know, but they are going crazy, but they're not like, they're not like doing something that's just like super outlandish. It's more like, oh, I'm with the homies, we're chilling. So I think the elements of those, plus like how the song is so hype, but the flow of it is very chill, I think.
Alon, do you have anything to add to that? Because I'm curious about the choice of your instrumentation. It's so dramatic.
I love like switching the vibe completely from one section to another and stuff. You know, obviously the most important in a track, not just K-pop, but any track, is a catchy chorus, at least to me. And when Casey came up with the kick back thing, you know, that kind of gave us the direction for everything else to, you know, wrap it around it and make it work. And I already had the main, you know, drums and bass and stuff like that, and we were like, okay, well, how can we balance it from this more stripped down and urban, you know, type of vibe into a more melodic? So we built the pre-chorus for that to really have that epic, you know, which I love doing in my tracks. And yeah, just, you know, it's all about the balance and the dynamic. But yeah, the concept itself, yeah, I just loved it right away. As soon as, you know, he came up with it, I was like, that's perfect. It just works. So yeah.
Can we talk more about what makes the instrumentation that makes this song epic? Like, right, it's the strings, guitar, brass synth, is it?
Yeah, it's real brass, I think, on the pre. Real brass that I layered with the strings and those like more staccato type of strings on the post chorus as well. That just plays one.
Yeah, I remember you doing
there. It. Yeah, and one thing that's the first time I do in a track is, if you notice, the chords in the first and second pre-chorus are different.
Yeah. I think a lot of people might not have noticed it. You have to like really listen. When it's like dun 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 on a second, it's different than the first. It's interesting.
I am having my team react to it, and they have noticed that. So we've got you when it comes to that.
It's on the second half. So the first half of the pre starts the same way, but then the second time around, on the second half, the chord change, and then it goes that dun dun dun, and and that's not there on the first one. So that was fun to do. And it was just a lot of reformatic, moving stuff around. Originally, after the bridge, we had a little completely stripped down section with just we get the kick or something
in like a snap. I think
just
like
a snap,
kick,
completely,
yeah.
Just vocal and snap. But we took that out and went straight into the now we got that like crazy ad lib.
Also, the 3-part bridge, was it originally so long? Or 3-part? It's like 2.5.
Yeah, I think that's how it was. I added the drums though on the second half. I don't think we're there.
Yeah, I think it was pretty stripped when we originally did it.
Yeah, it's just a lot of section, but they all kind of work together, and yeah, it was a really fun song to work on, honestly.
Yeah, we had a good day that day. all the days we were there, it was pretty good. Yeah.
I'm sure this is the same camp that 100 was written, right?
100, Punch, Kick It.
Damn!
It was a great camp. We had an amazing time. That was fun.
So when leading back from the bridge to the chorus, of course, the high notes are, bring out the big explosion of the song, the peak. Did SM ever talk to you about which notes the members can hit? Because I know I talked to Adrian McKinnon about Moonwalk, and he originally had like Moonwalk, but they asked him to do because the member could hit it. Did you get any notes like that?
They don't probably give us like an actual like key of what they can hit, but usually SM artists can hit, they have a member that can really hit those high notes. So, every time me and Alon work together, we always challenge ourselves to try to hit a higher note. But actually,
Oh
in
my
the
goodness.
demo, if I were to play the demo, Alon is actually the one that hits that high note.
I'm usually the one
Yeah.
who's gonna go and like record
Yeah.
the notes at the end of the bridge, because
Yeah.
but we always try like each other. We're like, okay, what's the highest note we can hit?
Can we hit that Mariah whistle?
Yeah, it's so fun. But the song did end up being pitched down 2 semitones from the original demo. So yeah, probably to make it more comfortable for them to sing and stuff. So because it was really high. Especially the end of
Yeah.
every pre ends like almost like a bridge, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like a full note. It's not like even a falsetto. It's like
So it made it easier, I think. But they killed those vocals. Honestly, the
Oh.
performance is so good.
intent. It put me to shame. I feel like.
Yeah, speaking of killing the parts, a fan was curious about when you released this song and you heard the members singing it. Davika D is the one who tweeted me this. They asked, which member has the most of that kickback vibe? Did any member make you go, whoa, this person was meant to perform this song?
I would say between Kuhn and Lucas. Because I guess, the one's singing, one's rapping. I think they've kind of it fit them perfectly.
Yeah, especially Lucas with the rap.
Yeah, he
that's-
murdered it.
Yeah, especially the rap in the second verse, which is more like a low tone type of rap. I think fitted him perfectly. All members of Wavy are so
Yeah. Amazing.
cool and yeah.
Awesome. So I did accidentally get a little off track, but going back to the second part of the other question, which is what elements are added to this song that make it fresh and different compared to past Wavy's tracks? Like, I'm sure that you guys also retweeted a ton of questions of fans asking, okay, this reminds me of Turn Back Time and Moonwalk and this because of all these, but there are so many fresh elements. Can we try and break all those down for the fans?
Some of the rap flows are probably like a little more complex than in some of their previous songs. So I think we really had fun with adding a lot of different sections in the raps and really switch up the flow to like some fast stuff, changing the tone of it. So I think that was new for them, or at least like an evolution of what they started doing, because they're all great rappers and there's some really sick raps in Turn Back Time and all of that. But I think we pushed the boundaries a little more with how complex the raps are.
Yeah, I would have said the same thing. The raps definitely gave it a little more of a different kind of cadence than normal.
Obviously, the kickback hook, I think, is like probably the most
That's true.
important
Yeah.
because most of their chorus are like sang, in Moonwalk and Turn Back Time. It goes into those big chord and singing melody, but to have a more like rappy, repetitive type of chorus is probably new for them.
Yes, and also on top of that, even the track, I feel like, is more rhythmically complex, has a lot more syncopation than their past tracks. Like, something that immediately comes to mind is the da, 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 when the bass drum is in sync with the instrumentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it creates almost like an action movie feeling versus floating in space like some of their past titles.
One thing I love doing is after, like, for example, when Casey, did the top line and stuff, I love to go back to the production and actually chop up some rhythm to go along the vocal lines, so it wasn't there at first, but then he went, so I was like, okay, let's follow it with the kick and the, so that always works.
I think definitely for the pre, every time I listen to it and like close my eyes and listen to it, I just think of them in a stadium and like how big that feeling would be if it was like, 10,000 people or 100,000 people like in the crowd and just be like, oh, let's go. Like, I think it would be so epic.
Right. It's an interactive part. And then, of course, what stood out to me is that almost every single time you transition to a new section, Alon, you have a bar of 2/4, like 2 beats just inserted into the 4/4 feel. What?
What do you mean?
So going to like kick, back, 3, 4, 1, 2, drop.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
yeah.
like that bar is 6.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a good way to build the tension even more because obviously everybody expected to come on the 4, but adding those two, especially the big like and then it goes on for two more bars before the hook
Right.
comes in. So yeah, that was a fun way to just build tension. I think that's probably the best way I can describe it.
Without it even being like a big thing, like it was just like that one sound that's kind of just still gives it like a rise.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so amazing how you end up coming up with this idea and then it fits perfectly into a group's discography, because this song not only sounds familiar to fans, but also, like you said, it's a development, it's a step further. Like, the boys are rapping more complex rhythms, even though, you know, we've heard them rap a ton in their past tracks. So this is a wonderful next step for WayV. And the very last question that I have for you is, do you guys have any messages for Wade Zani, and yeah, what's coming up next for you all?
Yeah, the support is always very overwhelming, and seeing the results of those tracks is an amazing feeling.
I totally agree with that. I mean, just the support from the fans is like, for me, the one reason I really do music is for it to be heard and for people to feel that happiness with it. It's like huge for me. So I feel like, you know, even our interactions, me and Alon are always on Twitter interacting with everyone. It's like, we just really love to get their feedback, you know, always there trying to answer questions, trying to let, you know, even people that are aspiring songwriters, musicians, we always love to like influence them and try to help them become the next, you know, K-pop songwriters or, you know, the next generation. So I think the support from them is like epic, honestly.
Yay, thank you so
more
much.
more K-pop hopefully very soon.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, get vaccinated and travel to Korea and create a bunch more bops for us, please.
Yes. I cannot wait to go back.
Yeah.